Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I wanted to make a video covering all of the builds that I use for every character in Pokemon Unite. This has been requested by a couple viewers, and I figured I'd go on ahead and do it. So let's go on ahead and dive into it. Alright, so this is my build sheet. I have this linked in the description of videos. I have this as a command on my stream, and I'm going to go through all my builds and talk about why I listed the ones that I listed, and yeah, we're going to do that. So that's what we're going to do. And actually, I need to add a build on here. It's essentially this same Absol build, but I use Sucker Punch, which is what I've been using more so lately. I really like Night Slash Psycho Cut, and I really like Night Slash and Sucker Punch. But let's go ahead and talk about these builds quickly. For me, the goal of Absol is Absol is the truest of assassins, the most speedster in the game, and the goal is to just dive in and kill someone, right? That was my goal when I made this build. This is a jungle build mostly. I'm running X attack to try to help with that. You know, obviously, I don't know if this is the best item. I really like it. I get a lot of value out of it in the early game. I'm running the double crit items between Scope Lens, Razor Claw, and then I have attack weight. So this build, if you look at it, it's just all damage. I try to stack the attack weight the best I can. I usually don't end a game without at least 5 or 6 stacks, so it's not really that bad, especially if you're getting that early snowballing, getting a couple kills in the lane, you're able to dunk 1 or 2 times. And Night Slash is just incredibly strong. Psycho Cut's really good, and like I said, I like Sucker Punch a lot as well. So that's kind of like where I'm at with Absol. As for Talonflame, there's a couple of Talonflame builds I like. I've kind of leaned away. I try really hard not to use attack weight in the jungle, but if you're going to, you know, I guess you can take a score shield. You just have to really play the game with purpose for this attack weight. But these are the couple Talon builds that I like to run. This one just feels really consistent. You're not getting like that high AD for your scaling, so this build is much more high AD scaling, where this one is kind of you actually dive in and fight them and crit and you're doing damage. You know, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what I think the best Talonflame build is or what my favorite Talonflame build is. This build right here feels safe. You got the Flame Charge the Fly, really good damage. They have to deal with you. Eject Button's amazing at increasing the range of Fly, helping you steal objectives and secure objectives. And this build is a little bit more scaling the AD into your abilities. You don't get the Buddy Barrier, which I do like for team fighting, because like sometimes I throw my ult for the kind of like, oh crap, and like get my shield and I can fight. So this is more of like stand and fight, try to auto attack and crit. This one's more like scaling into your abilities. So that's kind of how I've been playing Talon. As for Gengar, sadly Gengar's just not super great, but you know, triple glasses, Shadow Ball, Dream Eater with an eject button. That's the only way I play the character. You just try to do as much damage as you can and blow somebody up. For Zeraora, there's a couple builds I run. I really like the Energy Ant build. It is insane. It blows the whole team up. Everybody dies when you hit your Unite button into a discharge, but undeniably the early game is weaker when you run this build. This build I tend to run more often with the Scope Lens because your early game is incredibly strong. You can level 4 gank, level 5 gank, first appearance in lane. You might get a big crit on someone. You might win the early game because of it. So, you know, obviously you have to think about it. End game team fight damage, early game gank damage, you know, pretty good stuff. But that's kind of the builds that I like to run for Zeraora. Now, taking a look at Blastoise, I think Surf Hydro Pump is just the way to go on this character. There's a couple ways I like to run it. You can go full tank with a score shield, have that scoring potential. Or you can do kind of like all-rounder-y, bruiser-y type of build. Throw on that muscle band, do a little bit extra damage. This is the build I run more often than not, but I think going full tank mode is definitely fine. I'm not a huge fan of Rapid Spin Water Spout these days, or Rapid Spin Hydro Pump. Just been really leaning into the Surf builds a lot. As for Snorlax, you know, you got to do it, right? Full tank, heavy slam, block. I mean, full tank, scoring capability, eject button, heavy slam potential there. Really, really strong build. As for the Flail-Lax build, listen, it's not like a real build, but it's fun. You can jungle it. I think there's nothing wrong with running like the Razor Claw for the slows, the crit, the muscle band for just more attack damage, like you're just beating people and getting that attack speed and, you know, taking percentage health off of them. And then weakness policy, it scales up your attack while you're getting hit. You're durable, so you can actually survive, you know, getting hit and stack that up and then just do more damage to people. You know, weakness policy, maybe not the best item there. It's only good in a few situations anyways. It's just a really niche item, but I like it. It's fun. And then, I don't know, the eject button just because it's an eject button. But I don't really ever play this build, but if I wanted to jungle Snorlax, it would look like something like that. As for CRUSTLE, I actually think there's a lot of CRUSTLE builds you can run. I really do. There's a lot of CRUSTLE builds you can run. This is kind of like the full tank build I like to run. Same thing, you know, tank items, score shield, focus band, buddy barrier. You have the eject button to make X scissor plays, and then you can honestly go rock tomb or shell smash. I think shell smash running, like going really fast and getting in front of them, X scissoring backwards, eject plays to you know, jump forward and X scissor backwards. A lot of cool tank potential here. I really like it. As for the score shield, like Stealth Rocks crit build, this one is all about objective shredding. This is meant to be a Fluffy Tail. I just haven't updated the image, but you can even see I forgot to put Fluffy Tail here. Fluffy Tail is really good. Oh, also, speaking of Fluffy Tail, Zero Aura. If you want to run Fluffy Tail and Zero Aura, completely fine. I think that's a good character for it. But yeah, so we have like more of the like, I'm going to fight with Stealth Rocks build. I'm going to be super tanky build. And again, you can run Rock Tomb here. This needs to be a Fluffy Tail. There's really good options for these kinds of builds for CRUSTLE. You can do a couple different playstyles. CRUSTLE's really, really good at that. As for Mamoswine, I have like this damage build. I like Icicle Crash and High Horsepower. I just do like basically same thing as SNORLAX, right? Like it's kind of a troll, like fun build, but I do like to play it. It's fun. And then you get the full tank build, the Ice Fang, High Horsepower, full tank, eject button. You can make some eject button plays. Just really the hard CC. Mamoswine's not really that great. It makes me sad. The character's really fun to play, and these are the builds that I like to play for. Again, same thing, full damage build. Throw the weakness policy. They can survive the hits. You can get some more AD scaling going on. It's kind of fun. Slowbro. Oh, I need to add or load my images. Slowbro full damage build. I'm not gonna lie, this is such a fun build. Pop that amnesia, get the extra damage. You've got auto attacks with muscle band that do damage. You got the double scaling, which it's not the best thing in the world, but they do play into each other and they scale into your abilities. So Surf can hit pretty well. I'm not gonna lie, this build is actually pretty good. Of all the tanks that I have like a damage build on, this one's probably the best, which is weird to say. I like jungling this, it's really fun. But true, you know, like tank, Slowbro, I really like the buffs to Amnesia, so I've been leaning into it more than Telekinesis. But Telekinesis would be fine here. Get that Surf, be tanky, have your score shield potential, eject button for eject butting, unite moving, or eject Surfs is really strong. Yeah, these are the two builds that I like to run for Slowbro. As for Greedent, and I need to mess around a little bit more. I love this like never ending, never dying potion, Stuffed Cheeks, Bullet Seed build. This is so fun to play. I love it so much. I'm considering maybe dropping the focus band or the score shield for an attack weight, getting the extra damage per bullet seed. I've tried it. I don't know if it matters more to me than just staying alive and being annoying and disruptive. I need to mess around with it to see. Maybe that's for more like carrying your games. But this build has been one of the most fun builds that I've made that I like. And I just love running around being super obnoxious and annoying. I don't do the most damage in the world, but honestly, you can mess some people up and just be super disruptive. And then, of course, you got the Covet Stuffed Cheeks build. Pretty similar to what we were running in the past. Yeah, I actually think I did this one wrong. I think I usually put a buddy barrier on. So usually I go score shield, attack weight, buddy barrier. And it kind of like, I don't know, Greedent's laning phase is really good. Like focus band, don't get me wrong, is great. But if you're not like trying to stay in and fight a whole lot, which is what I do with this build, then you can probably drop this for the buddy barrier. So you can just run around with the buddy barrier and just belch and covet after people. And then of course it's decent with Fluffy Tail. I don't know post nerf if I would still run Fluffy Tail here. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably run like X speed or, you know, something obnoxious like that. I don't know, but eject button, whatever you want to run there is fine. You can even run potion. I honestly think that Gradient with potion is kind of troll. So let's look at Eldegoss. Now, the thing about Eldegoss is there's so many ways to play this character. I have this silly damage build that I like to play. It's not serious. Again, same thing. I do play fun builds from time to time. So we've got the Leaf Tornado and the Cotton Spore, the Muscle Band, the Choice Specs, the Buddy Barrier with a Fluffy Tail. This is like I'm trying to do damage Eldegoss, solo carry mage damage Eldegoss. And then you have like the more supporty build. I like Fluffy Tail and Eldegoss. The ult has a really good Unite Steal potential. Just if you're farming in lane, like you can steal some farm. You can, you know, if you're on an objective and they're coming, you know, quickly, they're on their way, you can Fluffy and Leaf Tornado it. This is a fun build. There's obviously tons of variations for builds for Eldegoss where you could use EXP share. You could drop this off for a score shield. Like there's a lot of potential here. And then of course, Cotton Guard is just great. But you want to run like Muscle Buddy, I think, a lot of the time on this character. They just do so much damage, man. I think Eldegoss is like borderline doing too much damage. I don't know. I say borderline. I think the character needs a damage nerf personally, but for support, the character performs very well. As for Blissey, You know, same thing. You can run an EXP share. I just don't feel the need to put a bunch of variations of support builds. You can kind of just take it how you want. I prefer soft boiled and helping hand. Safeguard is obviously great as well. Eject button just to be safe. But honestly, Blissey, especially if you're running like safeguard, like Score Shield's not bad. Blissey has a pretty big health pool, so Score Shield's not bad in general. Not really going to want to muscle ban because you're melee, so you're not really doing any damage there like you would with Eldegoss. But yeah, just standard kind of support build. You can run an EXP share here. You could do, like, I guess if you really wanted, you could do a Score Shield SP attack specs, raise your healing. But yeah, I don't know. It's what it is. As for Mime, this is like tanky Mime, right? Like, you know, you play the lane, get your confusion barrier, have your Score Shield, your focus band, your buddy barrier. I could have put a damage Mime build on here where you do like double glasses buddy barrier. You know, I like running that in jungle every now and then, but it's not something I play even consistently enough. The thing I wanted to say about my builds page is that my builds are like the builds that I play most often, but there are variations, and everybody should have like subjective understanding of like why you would change something and what you would change just to like kind of fit your own play style or like the way you want to play, or just to do something fun. So Wigglytuff, same kind of deal, right? Like these two supports are basically tanks. You run full tank, you run some strong some strong things on them. I actually even Jungle Wiggly. I don't even have my Jungle Wiggly build on here. What I do is I drop the focus band on Jungle Wiggly, I go roll out, and I run an Aos cookie. But I don't even have that listed just because it's not something I do outside of 5-mans anyways, so wasn't sure if I'd put it on my builds page, but that's where I'm at with it. As for Lucario, after seeing Teeds do some pretty awesome testing with weakness policy on Lucario, seeing that the damage is similar to Razor Claw with E-Speed, I can't help but put it on the build. You have your stacking potential, you have full heal because it's amazing with Lucario, and you have the weakness policy. So the thing about weakness policy is that if it can do similar numbers to Razor Claw, and it seems that it does through testing, or that it can, just in a different way because the damage is applied slightly differently, you can use the weakness policy and get higher health, similar damage to Razor Claw, and it actually will increase your attack scaling, which plays into Lucario's passive Steadfast Shield, so you get a bigger shield. So this is a pretty good item for Lucario specifically. I think that Lucario is the only one that truly taps into the potential of weakness policy, but E-Speed, Bone Rush, really solid build. As for this one, it's the same thing. I just like running. Sometimes I drop the Score Shield and I just go full damage. This is like, I've done some pretty big damage games with this one. I don't think it's nearly as good as the Score Shield one because this gives you some versatility to do a lot of scoring, get some backdoor scores in the end game, some of those like low point dunks and things like that. And then same thing, powered up punch build, right? Powered up punch is good. All right, Charizard. There's like only 2 versions of Charizard I could even imagine taking, and you gotta have muscle scoped for the damage. Like the whole point of playing this character is diving that back line, popping the Unite move, and doing damage. So X attack, same thing, right? Flamethrower, Fire Blast, it's just good range damage, poke, utility, move speed, right? Range damage, poke, slow, utility. Yes, you can do the double punch build, but that's much more of like a 1v1 kind of build, and this brings so much more utility for yourself and for your team, and good damage. So I can't imagine not running these 2 abilities. But you know, you have Energy Amp to do more damage during the Unite move, or Buddy Barrier to stay alive during the Unite move. So kind of like a subjective choice here. Probably better in 5v5s here, probably better in solo queue here. Machamp. I have been playing a couple of these builds, and this is the one that really sticks with me. I know you can do some attack weight score shielding things. I really try. I try really hard to be practical with my builds out of jungle. Machamp's a jungler. I don't like having to stack an attack weight out of jungle unless I have to, like on like Absol, and even like the backdoor scoring like Talonflame build, it's really easy to get those scores in, but I really don't like trying to force attack weight out of the jungle. But Dynamic Punch, Cross Chop's kind of been growing on me ever since I've been playing a little bit more Machamp, playing that Dynamic Punch is really strong. Muscle Razor, you got a lot of attacks in, when you dive in on people, you're beating them, you're getting a lot of those attacks in, you get the slow from Razor Claw, and then you have a nice buddy barrier with an eject button. So really fun build. As for Submission Cross Chop build, I liked leaning into the crit. I don't really play this one that much, but this is one of my original Machamp builds. I've just kind of always kept it, and it was always like tried and true for me. It worked really well, so I just kind of stuck with it. As for Garchomp, there's really one build: Dragon build, Muscle, Scope Lens, and Buddy Barrier. Need the Buddy Barrier to stay alive during ult. Need this just to do some damage. Eject button just to kind of help. Maybe I don't know, maybe X speed's better. I don't know. The character's just so bad that like there's only one build that I've even tried that is kind of useful, and it's this one. So It is what it is. As for Cinderace, you got a couple of options. Same thing: Pyro, Flame Charge, Muscle Scope for max damage, max range, max attack speed, full heal to keep yourself out of CC, and then you have an option. Do you want to go more spammy range damage with Razor Claw and just constantly spamming these abilities, getting that Razor Claw proc, or do you want to have a Buddy Barrier to keep yourself alive? So, bit of subjective thing there. Same deal here, right? We have a Water Shuriken build. We have a Water Shuriken build. We have a Surf build. Same kind of triple damage items. Why do I put this one on here? Oh yeah, because I put this one on here because honestly, when I'm doing a Surf build, sometimes I just want a little bit more durability. Lush has been almost convincing me to run Buddy Barrier. I do like the way that he uses Greninja with Buddy Barrier. I was never a fan of it because I just die in the ult, but if you do it from like kind of like being secretive or sneaky, it's not bad. So yeah, you could run a Buddy Barrier here. You know, you can kind of see the trends. Like if you want to throw Buddy Barrier, if you want to throw Focus Band on, somewhere in here, these are some of the items that you would want to look to drop off. The Razor Claw mainly would be an item that I drop off. For Surf build, I do like Focus because sometimes I go in and I don't get that reset, and the Focus Band can save me. As for Cramorant, this poor character just needs some TLC, but Hurricane Surf, it's solid. This is like full damage Cram. This is like, big damage Cram with a Buddy Barrier, then eject button. So yeah, Cram needs some love. As for Gardevoir, kind of same thing, right? Just like Moonblast, Psy Shock, consistent damage. You have the eject button to keep yourself safe, and then you have either like a bunch of damage or you have like a Buddy Barrier damage build. Ninetales, we have our like Mage Ninetales, and we have like auto attack Ninetales, right? Dazzling Gleam, Aurora Veil. This is like OG, nice, consistent Ninetales build with an eject button. This is like more of the longer range Magey Ninetales. You throw those choice specs in, you get some of that burst off your abilities, have the Buddy Barrier stay alive, and then eject button for positioning. New Ninetales feels pretty good, but it's just so hard to carry with a Mage Pokemon like this. Speaking of Mage-like Pokemon, same thing with Pikachu. It's the same build, right? Like this Magey poke from range, have good poke on your abilities, eject button to keep yourself safe, Buddy Barrier to keep yourself safe, Thunderbolt, Thunder. I don't know if I poked at the right one. Thunderbolt and Thunder build, really, really strong for range damage. And this is kind of like, this Pikachu build is like the same thing, but it's like counter Speedster. Like if you're getting dove really hard, or if you think that they have like a character that's going to dive you really hard, this kind of like slows them down. Single target will hit them, slow them. Volt Tackle will, act as like a nice CC if they get close to you. Can buy you time with this build to stay alive. I do think that these abilities are better, but not a terrible build either. As for Venusaur, tried and true, Giga Petal Dance, double band Buddy Barrier with a full heal. Don't want to get CC'd when you're trying to run around and heal yourself. This is, again, tried and true Venusaur build. It's the only build that really matters. But if you want to do a Magey build, same thing. You can see it, the kind of the Magey build that we have poked out. Range damage on your abilities, Buddy Barrier, eject button, because you don't need full heal when you're not playing, when you're playing Solar Beam, you don't really need full heal. You're sitting back and poking with full heal and I don't remember what this is called. Can't think of it. Whatever. Venusaur. Sylveon. Mage build with Hyper Voice. Really fun stuff. Calm Mind, I think, is just always better than Draining personally. And then you have the Mystical Fire auto attack Mage build. So full heal on this one. You don't want to be getting CC'd. You want to be running around, auto attacking, and using your abilities. This one is just Hyper Voice focus. So there you have it. Those are all of my builds condensed down to a nice 18+ minute video. Some of the reasoning and thought process behind it, and some of the ways that you can change it yourself, because the reality is that as long as you're mostly sticking to strong items and things, you're going to have a pretty good understanding of the characters, and you can make some slight changes here and there. So let me know if there's anything that you think I missed, or like a build that I have to try that's not gimmicky. Don't throw me some silly builds. But friends, drop a comment, drop a like on the video. I definitely appreciate all the support. As always, be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you in the next video.